All right. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to Tech Tuesday. James was kind enough to fit me in the rotation here, and you'll be seeing a little bit more of me actually as the months move on. So just in way of introduction, so you kind of have a face with a name. My name is Carson Young, and I came aboard just a few weeks ago, just a short few weeks ago. So I'm the new LMS administrator. So anything that you need Canvas wise, any tickets that come through, I jump on those and help out where I can. A little bit about me. So I live in Utah, just outside of Salt Lake City. Pretty much grown up here. Actually from Arizona, but moved here when I was a little kid, and I'm still here. So I consider myself a Utahn, even though technically I'm an Arizonan, I guess you would say. But very, very nice to meet all of you. So today, when looking at the announcement and invite that James sent out, what we're going to do is we're going to specifically focus on Course Building 101. And it sounds like Professor Harris is in a situation where this is going to be most helpful. She's been tasked to create a brand new course from the ground up, so we can work with that. And that's exactly what we'll do. And so a couple items I'd like to mention, or take homes that I would like you to take home would be number one, where you can get really good resources. Because that's going to be huge, especially when you're course building, or if you just have a piece of the LMS you're trying to learn a little bit more about. How do I create an assignment? But how do I create an assignment? But I also want them to be able to upload a document, right? Versus not uploading a document, but maybe just manually typing in via a text field what their answers are. I mean, Canvas does a lot of stuff, but it is quite intuitive, which is very nice. So number one, I'm going to show you where you can get some really good resources, and I'll share these with you, with the group after as well. I'll show you that first. A couple other things will be, again, just starting a course from scratch. Specifically, we're going to be talking about creating modules, editing content, publishing your course and content, because you can do both. And also looking at the course settings. That's going to be our primary focus. However, I have a few other things that, especially if you're creating a course from scratch, you probably should know. And lastly, again, if you do have any questions or you need to set something up, well, what about this, or how do I do that? Feel free to reach out. Honestly, I'd be happy to do a one-on-one session with you if you're stuck, or if you need help building something, or you just have some general questions. Sure, you can submit all of that via tickets, which is fine. But if you're just like, you know what, I just need a session to sit down and hash some stuff out, I'm happy to do that as well. So just let me know. I'm on the Mountain Time Zone, but I am working in an East Coast schedule. So just so you're aware of that. Okay, well, all right. So let's go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, I want to share with you some locations, and I can pop some of these locations right in chat. And I'm actually going to try to monitor chat as best I can. If you want to pop a question in chat, you're welcome to. If you just want to come off mute and ask, that may actually be a little bit more simple, as there's just myself at the moment. But James, if you happen to see something that comes in and I'm not acknowledging it, just give me a shout if you don't mind.
Will do.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so first and foremost, let's look at a couple, and I'm going to share my screen here. But let's take a look at some resources. And then I'll show you some resources as well. Okay, so let's let that disappear. The first thing I want to share with you are the Canvas guides. And this is specific to instructor. So I'm just going to grab this URL here and I'll pop it in chat here in just a moment. But the Canvas guides are really excellent. Canvas does an awesome job of documenting everything that that Canvas does for us, both on the student end, the instructor end, the administrative end. This particular piece here is for instructors. So if we go ahead and click on this instructor guide, we can see here all the different topics and categories of content that they have documented for Canvas. Their documentation is very, very strong, and they're always updating it. So you know you're always getting updated content, which is fantastic. So I'm going to pop this first link in the chat. Go ahead and grab that if you would like. And again, these are the Canvas guides for instructors. Now, what's really nice about the Canvas guides is anything you can think of, and then even more that you may never have thought of, is going to be here. So for example, if I want to know about assignments, just click on assignments. And what this will do is this will drop you down to everything you need to know about assignments. And sometimes this can look a little daunting because look how long this list is. I mean, there are a lot of items in here, but just look to see what you want. For example, if I'm just looking at how do I create an assignment, then I can click on how do I create an assignment? And then you can just go through the documentation. And what's really nice is they've broken this down so that it's very step by step. You know, you're in your course, you click assignments. And then it shows a picture of it, highlights everything for you, and walks you through, talks you through everything, and so on and so forth. So it's very good documentation, and it explains everything very thoroughly, and also gives you that visual for, you know, the visual learner, which I am. So I appreciate that. So those are, again, the Canvas guides, and this was specifically for the instructor. However, there are Canvas guides for admins and also for students as well. So before we go any further, are there any questions as far as Canvas guides are concerned? All right, so there is another piece of the Canvas guides, and that is the video collections. The video collections are pretty awesome as well. And not only can you just see and read, but on this one, they'll actually show you real time, and I will put that link in as well. So there's the link for the videos. And they have a lot of different video collections. They have some very introductory videos here up on top. You know, set up your Canvas course in 30 minutes, things of that nature. You know, getting started for a student, so on and so forth. Here are some all-user videos, which are very kind of basic and high level, to a huge amount of student videos for all kinds of things that we can also, you know, send our students to. And then there are quite a few instructor videos as well, as we can see here. So I would recommend looking at these as well for faculty. And if we keep going down, there's observer videos and admin videos and so on and so forth. You can watch any of them. You're not restricted, but you'll probably want to focus on, you know, the instructor videos here. Again, there's assignment overview. So if you're creating your assignments, you can look at that. Discussions right here, quizzes, people, which kind of go over your roster, your course roster within Canvas. So I wanted to share this with you off the top so that you know that there are a lot of really good resources out there, and they're created by Canvas and they're updated by Canvas, and they never go away, regardless of you know, personnel changes within the company. So definitely keep that in mind. The other thing that I would mention as well is, as far as resources are concerned, what I find myself doing a lot, if I'm just not sure of something or I'm trying to figure something out, YouTube. You can find about anything on YouTube, as we all know, including Canvas tutorials that may not be here, but that someone else may have published. And so I've turned to, you know, the YouTube source quite a bit when I'm just trying to learn about something, or take a look at how someone has been able to create or overcome an issue that I'm trying to figure out. So YouTube is another good resource also. All right, so those are the resources. Now, what we're going to do next is, if there aren't any questions, and I'll pause this for a moment in case there are. Okay, all right, we'll soldier on then. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at some course building. Now, as far as courses themselves go, now there was a comment earlier that the Professor Harris needs to build a course from scratch, which is even taking it a step further back than just your normal course building. But as far as course building is concerned, what you need is, you're going to need, more than likely, you're going to need to request an empty Canvas shell. And if I'm not mistaken, that does need to be requested through ticketing. And then I can create that shell for you, and then you'll have access to that on your dashboard. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So that'd be your first step if you're having to create something from scratch. If you have some elevated permissions, then you would be able to go in and create your own course shell. But typical practice, as I understand it, is by request. All right, so here we go. We have our course shell. It's created for us. We're enrolled as the instructor role for this course. So we can go in, and we're essentially the admin for this particular course on our dashboard. We can do almost everything that an admin can do, but in this course only, as far as building it out and moderating it. So let's take a look at this. Now, one thing I do want to mention really quick before we jump into the course itself is this account feature over here on the left. And I don't know if there's a certain policy with UNCP, but I would definitely suggest and recommend that you do put an avatar picture in of yourself, just so you know your students have a name and face to look at for sure. And when you do select account, you can simply do that just by going to your profile and then selecting the pencil icon. What's really nice is you can even take the picture from your webcam by selecting this. You can choose a picture that's already on your hard drive or your computer by selecting this. So you can upload one or take one, however you'd like. But just as good practice, definitely good to have your face to your information. So I did want to mention that for just a moment. And then, of course, over here on the right-hand side, these three dots, your edit profiles, where you can put in a lot of good information as far as your bio is concerned, or any links that you want to send individuals to, maybe to some things that you've published, and things of that nature. Office hours, contact information, and why, you know, even your curriculum vitae. I see a lot of faculty linking to that and sharing that type of information. So I did want to throw that out there for just a moment. Okay, so let's head back to our dashboard. Let's look in the course, and we'll just pop right in and get going. Okay, so as far as the course is concerned, right, we just need to add content. And we have all of these. We have our global navigation bar here on the far left, and then we have kind of our course level navigation just next to it. And we can control these links and what is seen in a course. Some courses have a lot of links. When you create a new shell, everything kind of comes over. But there is a way that you can control this. Now, anytime you see an I with a slash through it, it means that it is visible to you, but it's not going to be invisible to the student population. So do keep that in mind. Announcements are a little bit weird. If there have been no announcements posted, it's going to default by showing that it is hidden. But once you post that initial announcement, this will become unhidden. So just FYI, I've dealt with a few situations where someone was very confused and why it's hidden. I don't want it to be hidden. And it was just because nothing was in there. But I did want to show you in your course, when you look at settings, you can modify the user experience. And coming from an instructional design background, one of the very first things that I learned was you want to keep this list as slim as you possibly can. Only have the things on there that they really, really need. So when you go into your course, you can go to settings and you'll have these tabs across your course. You want to look at navigation. Navigation is going to show the arrangement of all of the items that a student is going to see, and it reflects exactly the arrangement over here in the course level navigation area. If you ever want to get rid of something, let's say that, you know what, this, let's see, folio for whatever, I'm just using this as an example. I don't want it there. You can disable it. What that's going to do is it's automatically going to pop it down into this area, which are items to hide from students. You can also drag and drop down here as well. So if you're like, nope, 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 and you want to move stuff, you can quickly do it that way as well. Same method is in reverse. Is if I want to bring stuff up, I can. If I want to use, the ellipses here and move, I can move it to, a certain area. I find that a little more time intensive than just grabbing and dragging it. But there you are. That's how you modify and control your course level navigation. One very important thing, and I have learned this the hard way, if you have a lot of stuff that you're moving around, sometimes it can take a minute. Make sure when you're done that you save, because it doesn't automatically save. And if you don't and navigate away, you're going to have to redo it again. So just keep that in mind. Any question on course navigation arrangement? All right, not so much.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
So, is there a specific template that needs to be followed in terms of the order that things are?
Ooh, that is a fantastic question. And to be completely honest with you, Professor Reese, I am not 100% sure, but I will get that answer for you and let you know.
And then I have one more question, if you don't
Yeah,
mind. If I teach a class that's been taught before and the instructor wants to share information from the prior course, is it actually building a new course, or is it you take that shell and then you work from that?
good point. So you can build courses quite a few different ways, and one is just simply importing content. That's probably the easiest thing to do if the course already exists, obviously. You can absolutely do that, and I can definitely display that here. So it looks like we've got about 12 minutes left in our session, but I can show you that really quick. In fact, it's very simple to do, and you have a lot of control, over that. But if you do have a blank course, so let's say, for example, if we're using this particular course, whenever you're in a course, you have each course is identified by this course ID number. And it's always found in the exact same place, regardless of where you are within the course. It's the number. It's typically a 5-digit number after the course's slash. So this is my course ID. And this is how I can actually do quite a bit just by knowing this particular number. So, so for example, if I needed to import content from an existing course to my empty course shell, I would need to grab that course ID number from where I'm importing from. So for example, let's just, I'll just show you really fast here. I'm just going to grab a very random course. Let's do this one, development course 001. So here we go. This course ID number is 90. That must be a fairly old course, I'm assuming. So once I have that, then I can go to the course I want to upload it to. Once I do that, I go to settings, which I'm already at. And then I can simply come over here to import course content over here on the right. Now, once I do that, Go ahead and close that. Once I do that, I can then drop this down and select copy a Canvas course. Once I do that, here's where I put in that course ID number. And then it looks like we actually have a lot of courses with 90 in it. So this actually was a bad example. But if I had a full 5-digit course, legit course, that course with that unique ID would be the only one to show up here. Now you can start typing in a course name, but then you're going to get all the all the terms and all the different semesters it's been taught in. But just know that when you have that course ID, that real specific course ID, just one course should pop up and you would select it. Okay, so once you do this, you can do one of two things. If you're just grabbing all content, then it's easy. You click that and you click import. If you just want some specific content or even specific modules or even a specific assignment, then you would select this latter one. And you would select import. At this point, you would select content. Now, if I would have selected all, this is going to queue up and then it's going to run automatically. You can even navigate away and it will still run on the back end. But since I selected specific content, I have one further step, which is to click the select content button. And here's where I can go in and say, yeah, I want this module and this module, right, from this drop down. But I want, in a different module, I do want these assignments here. And I want this specific discussion question, and so on and so forth. And then at that point, once you've selected everything you want, and look at this, you can import announcements. So if you have a template of announcements per week that you want individuals to see, you can import them over and over again instead of rewriting them every time. Rubrics as well, files, anything. And then you would click on select content and then pull that stuff over, which I'm going to go ahead and do. So we can see here it's queued, and then it's going to start running here in just a moment and bring that stuff over, and there it goes. All right, so once this is done running, and I only selected a couple things, so it should be fairly quick, we'll be able to see, okay, we see that it is now complete, and I'm going to go ahead and click on help. All right, so there's everything that I've imported. So that's the easiest way to import stuff from existing course. Hopefully that's helpful. But again, you can look in the Canvas guides, and this same process will be found there as well. Okay, perfect. So let's move on to adding some things from scratch actually. And the first thing I do want to start with and look at one more time are the settings. As you can see from my dashboard, that this looks pretty boring, and we can see it's not published either, right? So if you want to give this a little better look or a little more appealing look aesthetically, what you can do is you can actually go into your course, you can go to settings, and within your settings you have this area which is choose image. And what's really nice is you can just find an image that you have. I'm going to click upload image at this point and look in my pictures, and here I have an actual animated GIF. And I'm going to use that. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. And mine's a GIF, so it has some movement to it. You can upload GIFs to this, or you can also upload just stagnant pictures. But if you want a GIF, just go to Google, put in the name butterfly, and then GIF for GIF image, and then all kinds of stuff will pull up, and you can grab that. So then I can update my course details. Now, when myself and my learners look on their dashboard, it looks kind of cool, and just adds a little bit there. So that's kind of what that looks like as far as that goes. By the way, you do have these 3 dots up top here where you can remove the cover overlay. Right now, there's a gray cover overlay which you can change. And if you have hex code, you can do something very specific. But if you don't want the cover overlay, then you just can remove that by unchecking that. All right, awesome. So there's there's the course creation. That's how to import stuff, and then that's how to add an image to your course card. Is what that is. Okay, so let's move forward in actually adding some items within the course content itself. Now, I already added some modules here, but normally it would prompt you to add a module if you didn't have anything. And how you do that is just by clicking Add Module. You would give it a name. So let's just call this Test Module and Add. And what it's going to do is it's going to take it all the way to the bottom if you already have modules existing. If not, it'll be the first one you see. And like you just saw me do, you can click and grab and drag these modules wherever you'd like. Okay, we can also see the module is unpublished, whereas these are published. So let's talk about that for a moment because that is on the agenda to cover. And not only that, but we also have an unpublished up here, publish and unpublish here. So this is our course level publish and unpublish. Right now, no one would be able to get into this course that isn't already invited or has a type of administrative access that still allows them to see these. So here our course, you could say, is shut down, locked down, right? Unpublished. Learners definitely wouldn't be able to get into it. I can publish the course, and now this course could be searched for, but a student still couldn't access it because they haven't been invited into the course, right? They're not on our course roster. So you don't have to be worried about students accessing your courses when they're not supposed to, because unless they're actually put on your course roster, they can't access. So I'm going to go ahead and unpublish again just for a moment here. But no, you cannot unpublish courses once activity has begun in your course and people have started turning things in. You will not be able to unpublish at that moment, but you could change the dates so they became, unaccessible. Okay, so we have our new module here, and we see it's unpublished. That means that anything I put in this module will not be able to be seen by the learner. It will be by TAs. TAs would be able to see this, teachers would be able to see this, and on up, but students would not be able to see this. Taking a look at the module just below, we can see that this would be able to be seen. So anything with the check mark is seeable, is accessible. But here's one thing you want to be careful of. Even though all of this is published, they still wouldn't be able to see all of this. And the reason why is because I've unpublished it at the module level. So this will overwrite anything below it within the module. And I see that a lot too. My students can't see module, week 3 module, but everything's unpublished or everything's published. And then you look and you can see that one little place is not published, and that's the module header. And so all of this stuff would be invisible for them. So you would want to unpublish that, then they could see everything. And then we also can unpublish and publish certain items within a module too. If you're going to throw an assignment out or something like that, you could unpublish it. Or, we're not going to use this semester, we can unpublish it. All right, so there's that. Anyone have any questions about publishing and unpublishing items? None? Okay. All right, well, let's keep going then. So we have our brand new module here, and this is where it gets really fun in my opinion, and that is adding the content. So we can add content by importing it, which we have done, and we can see these items here. So if I'm like, oh yeah, I imported exam 1, I'm going to pop it right there. We can do that, and there it is. Or if we need to create it from scratch, then we've got to use this up here. We've got to select what type of activity or item we want to add. So in this case, let's say an assignment. And we want to create assignment. So this would be something that would be brand new. We'd give it a name. We'll just call it A1. We can even indent it if we want, but we can also do that later. And we would add. We can see A1 has been added. By default, it will be unpublished until we manually publish it once it's good to go. And that's kind of just common and good practice to do, is to unpublish as you finish items so you know where you're at. It kind of shows your progress, and you don't forget that you haven't done something and you launch the course and you've accidentally published it and it shouldn't have been, and it's empty. So a good rule of thumb is to keep things unpublished until they're done and ready, and then unpublish them. That's typically how I work and was trained to work. So that's for an assignment. If I wanted to create a discussion question, I'd go through the same motions, but I'd select discussion question. Again, is it one that's already there, or do we need to create a new one? I'm going to create a new one, D1. Oh, that's a weird D1. D1. And add item. Now you can see that it asks you to indent. You can do that by, again, these three dots, and we can increase the indent or we can decrease the indent. So you do have those options available to you as well. And then a lot of other things as well, such as removing items or moving items around or even duplicating items. So again, I can grab this like I did with the module earlier, and I can move these around and change up the order. I also can duplicate certain items. So for this discussion question here, I can click duplicate. And here I have a copy now of that. So you can do that kind of stuff as well. And that just, what that can do is if you have an assignment built out with all of the general information in there, and if it's going to be very standard within the course, then it saves you from having to retype over and over and over again. You just basically have your template, you duplicate it, then you make any setting changes for as far as dates and the assignment name at that point. Okay, all right, so that is how you add the items to the course. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a quiz or a discussion or an assignment, you add it all the same just by naming and going over. Now, new quizzes versus classic quizzes is going to be a different session. We actually have that slated for a very near session. It may even be the next one, if I'm not mistaken, or the one after that. And we'll go over the differences there. But again, you would go ahead and select. I like classic quizzes personally, but new quizzes will overtake classic quizzes in summer 24. So we have time. But that's how you add the items, how you publish and unpublish them. The last thing I want to mention very quickly here, I know we're a couple minutes over, I apologize for that, is settings. One more time, just very quickly here. And then when we meet next month, then we'll continue forward. But within your settings, due dates were part of this session. So I do want to make sure I quickly do this. Now, typically, if you just set it to term date, and it's found within, within that term, if courses are coming over automatically, typically the term date will already show. But you both have a term and a course date. Course date will override the term date, just so you're aware. But you can set a course date for a start and end date that's different from what the actual semester start and end date is. So kind of keep that in mind. A couple other things here. These are just for, I don't know about safety, but disabling people from either getting into the course early or after the term date has ended. You can control that by these two tick boxes here. And honestly, apart from that, those are probably the settings that you would modify the most. Sub-accounts, we want to make sure it's in the proper and right sub-account, so the right school of, so school of business or school of education. That comes with certain LTIs and tools by being associated with a certain sub-account, so that is important, and that's how you modify it with term or with sub-account. Okay, excellent. So let's see here, and then of course you have time zone, and then this is where you can change the name and or the course code of the course. So the name is the big bold name of the course, and then the course code is up on top. So just to kind of give you a very quick preview. If I had a home page, which we'll do next time in creating an actual home page, there would be text across it that said, test course 101, and then the course code is up here, test course 101. So you can modify and change them slightly if you're creating a brand new course. But again, if there are courses that are being pushed automatically for you, then this will all be done for you. All right, everyone. So I know that time went pretty quick, but that is kind of course building 101 and how to add the items, how to publish, unpublish, how to add a picture to your course card, and how to modify the course level navigation. Again, we'll pick up next month and go even further. But like I said, look at those resources that I put in chat. And if you ever needed any help, please feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Carson Young. And that concludes this session, but I did want to hang around for a minute or two if anyone had any questions. Happy to answer those.
Me again, I have another question.
Yeah, sure.
So in terms of like becoming competent with this, I've used Moodle LMS, but have never used Canvas before. So are there going to be, I know these are like short snippet classes, but is there like longer, more in-depth training to get people up to speed, or what, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. You know, we could look into doing something like that, perhaps. So what I can do is I can get with my team, which consists of Ray, which is on this call right now, and Wes, who has kind of been showing me the ropes as far as UNC Pembroke is concerned. And maybe we could come up with something like that, which is more formal training, you know, rather than a brown bag type scenario. I think these are equally as great, but if you're starting really from the beginning, sometimes some more intensive trainings could be very helpful, maybe at an hour a piece or so. And I'd be definitely happy to hold anything like that as well, as far as training is concerned. I do enjoy doing that immensely. So let me get back with you on that if you don't mind. Of course, Canvas does their own trainings as well. And so we could even talk about that. I've been through some of their trainings and they're quite nice. Their trainers are great. So I'll look into that for you and get back with you if you don't mind.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you are welcome.
Carson, this is Sheila. I did some playing around with Canvas because I've been using it for going on my 4th year now.
Okay.
What do you recommend that you use embedding to put pictures and websites and things on that line? Is that what you recommend to do?
Ooh, that's a good question. And videos too, right? So embedding
Yes.
pictures and videos. Oh man, we could spend a lot of time on that. Again, that's more in the course design realm or instructional design realm. And Canvas allows all of that to happen. There is a very simple way. It's using the rich content editor. And in fact, that's one of the topics that Ray West and myself came up with as a standalone topic, which is how to master the rich content editor within Canvas. That's basically your editing bar when you go into either assignments, discussions, or quizzes, where you have all of those like editing tools, like you're creating a Word document. You have all those options up top. It's like that. So, and that's a good point too, Ray. Instructional designers, that's a lot of what they use when they create these courses. So what I could do is I could grab some resources for more instructional design type items, and we could work on putting something together as far as that goes. But embedding video and that type of stuff, it actually is pretty simple, and then from an instructor level, you do have access to embed videos and embed images. And that was from Professor Harris, right? That question?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to write that one down. I'll get back with you on that. Any other questions I could answer? Just writing down some my take homes and action items. Okay, well, it was a pleasure meeting with you all. Like I said, if you have any questions or need further information, I'm happy to help. So feel free to reach out. I'm happy to also share more content with you, and look forward to meeting with you guys next month if you decide to attend. I believe it was, can't remember the day off the top of my head anymore for April, but I think it was around the 9th or the 12th or something like that. But that'll be coming out shortly, that invite. Okay, well, thank you everyone, and have a fantastic rest of your afternoon. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carson.
You're welcome.